Just pretend we like each other.
Welcome to Hey AEW. I am RJ City, and my guest is Kevin Knight. Hey.
What's going on?
What is going on? You're here. You're relatively new.
Live in the flesh.
Yes, live in the flesh. That's what I've always said. Let's do a little icebreaker.
Okay.
Let's get you warmed up to the company, to me and you.
Please.
Shoot on some other nights for me, okay?
On some other nights.
Yes. Saraya.
Saraya, oof. It's a royal bloodline right there.
If you say so. The Green.
The Green Knights, not my favorite color.
Because you want more experience. Is that what you're saying?
Of course, of course.
Gladys.
No, the Gladys Knight, top 5 singer, top 5 singer.
What about the Pips? You don't like the Pips? You
Not
don't like
really,
the Pips? I can
that's
tell
why
from
they're called the
here.
Pips. You
You're
know,
anti-Pips.
we don't know their names for a reason.
La.
La Knights. You know, it's a lot of good La Knights out there. You can do the Owl Knights, the Lu Knights, the Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Knights.
Yes,
so.
absolutely, and it brings us back to Do. Ted.
Ted Knights. I'm not familiar with Ted Knight.
That's
Maybe
a
Ted
shame.
Nugent, but
Brian Mick.
another great singer. Another great singer out
Well,
there.
if you had to pit them against Gladys or Brian Mick, who are you going with?
I got to give Gladys the edge. I got to give Gladys the edge.
Controversial. You were born January 1st.
Yes, sir.
You are a New Year's baby. Did that give you a false sense of importance?
Of course. You know, nobody likes Capricorns anyway.
Right.
And, you know, when you're the jet, when you're the one you look up to, you know, it automatically makes sense you're born on the 1st, so.
Yeah. Did you ever get kind of screwed on the birthday celebration?
course.
Everyone's hungover. They wake up at noon.
You either get a Christmas gift or a birthday gift, so it's one or the other. Yeah.
That's
And
really
forget
sad.
about Valentine's Day.
No, that's just not happening at all. Do you feel smarter than the other kids because you were the oldest one in your class?
It's the opposite. I was the youngest in the class.
You got held back?
When you're the youngest in the class, you start early. So you get to jump on like.
Oh, that's
boom.
right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
I'm going backwards.
Come on
And no. You're first.
Yes, sir.
So you're the oldest.
Youngest.
You were the boy. No. You were born first.
No, sir. Not in the way our school system is set up.
That's a problem with the school system. Even though you were billed from Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
You were actually born in New York. Why are you ashamed of your birthplace?
Not ashamed. You know what I mean? It's a That's why they call me the Jet anyway. I got different flavors from all different cities. So
Okay. So you're
spent the
screwing
most-
yourself out of the hometown pop? Is that the deal?
You know, I spent the most time in Atlanta, so that's what I claim.
Where were you born in New York?
Brooklyn.
I see why you're ashamed of it. It's okay. You are a 4th-generation bowler.
Yes, sir.
Is your family just old, fat, white Polish people?
See, you gotta come experience that. You gotta come experience
I
that.
have to come experience bowling?
Yeah, it gets
What am I
serious.
missing out on?
The competition, the matching suits, the trash talking, it gets real.
Show me how you bowl. Let's say you bowl a strike. Show me your walk back.
You want the walkthrough?
I want the walk back. Like you
walk
hit a
back.
strike. Show me your walk back with confidence.
I just hit that.
Yeah.
Pow. Who do you think you are? I am.
Oh.
Hit that, look right at the
That
camera.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you good at punching in on the screen?
Of course.
Okay,
Of course.
good. I don't
Every bowling alley is different. Everybody bowling alley is
Do you
different.
have a name while you bowl? Are you still the Jet when you bowl?
It's still just Kevin Knight, because that's a whole different alter ego.
Okay.
You know?
Wow, bowling gimmick. Excellent. Let's get unnecessarily sad and deep. Your father passed away when you were 11 years old. What psychological dysfunctions did that cause in you?
Man, you going into the
Touch my shoe. It's okay. You can touch my
these
shoe.
are nice, by the way.
Yeah.
These is Gators.
Look, you're deflecting. I got such a nerve that you're like, let me touch this guy's shoes.
I'm trying to even remember the question. It gave me a bunch of bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. You know, we got to take a bunch of supplements to cope with that in the ring. So it's a lot of different mental aspects that went into that loss of that. So
Did you get any social leeway from people? They're like, his father passed. Let him be an asshole.
Oh, you know, I was always like that in the first place. So I think people just left me alone even more.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what age did that stop? Where you're like, I'm an adult.
It's still
I
going.
can't use this. Really?
It's still going.
It's, wow, God bless you.
You know, trauma heals everybody. Trauma affects everybody differently.
See? There you go. You also said that because of that, you had to find your own male role models.
Of course.
Like who?
Not you. Obviously. But, you know, it came in many different forms, whether it's my older brother, a cartoon character, an athlete, rapper.
I'm sorry, what cartoon character?
I can't give you any specifics. You know, I was a big fan of SpongeBob, but he's not a role model.
No, he's not really.
Squidward, Mr. Krabs. You know, they teach you lessons, but they're not necessarily role models.
Is there anything you want to ask me about manhood? We'll just move on here.
We'll pause.
One of your big wrestling influences was ravishing Rick Rude.
For sure.
Do you subscribe to the Justin Wang circulated rumor that Rick Rude underwent a steroid-related penile amputation?
This is my first time hearing about any of this.
Really?
Of course.
And he was an inspiration to you?
Of course. See, I know what they do in the ring. Anything outside of that, nothing to do
so
with
you
me.
think everyone's good, healthy, and still alive?
In the ring, yes. Come on
God bless
now.
you. God, I'm going to sing you a link and it'll change your mind. Undeterred by your situation, you obtained a degree in Management Information Systems.
You did your research.
What's the best way to disguise an online porn habit?
We had to code that into the back-end system. We had to SSH into another machine.
Yeah.
And then once we code it up, however you want to code it up, put a password on there, a firewall.
Okay.
We can get you a couple, redirect you.
Does that
We can make it
incognito mode do anything?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't bank on it.
Oh,
So
boy.
you might want to check that out.
Yes. Because of this degree, you got a 6-figure job in identity and access management.
Wow, you're just throwing out all the numbers.
And then you had to move to Seattle.
Yes, sir.
And that's where you fell in love with indie wrestling.
Of course, of course.
How bad was your 6-figure job that you voluntarily went to indie shows?
Exactly. That's to answer your question. That I went from Seattle, Washington to a $20 check.
Yeah.
So that's to tell you right there.
What a trajectory you're on.
Right,
You said
right.
when watching these indies, the positive representation you saw there encouraged you to wrestle. Guys like Leo Rush and Swerve. Who is someone who definitely does not represent you?
I can give so many names.
Give one
I
name.
can give so many names.
We can bleep it.
We can bleep it?
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to ruffle any feathers.
Give me one.
I don't want to ruffle any
What if
feathers.
they're not in the company? What if they're dead?
Can I
Name
just
someone
whisper
who's
it
dead. Okay, we have to bleep that one. Yeah, I'm gonna get yelled at. You originally wrestled as Jet Knight.
Yes, sir.
That is the most creative wrestler name I've ever heard in my life.
You know, I used to play a lot of 2K back in the day, so it was just putting my attributes together and just putting a name alternator in there and just letting it go.
Yeah. Well, now you're Kevin the Jet Knight.
Yeah.
So much better. The Jet is in your entrance video.
Yes, sir.
You have it on your tights.
Right.
How do you feel about them defunding the TSA?
I don't think it's where our money should go, and that's why you see a whole bunch of planes falling nowadays, Deltas falling apart.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a result of what's going on in the office. So
Kind
I'm
of
not a
changes
fan.
your gimmick a little.
A little
You
bit.
go from like cool and high flying to unreliable and probably going to crash.
But you know, we like to stick on the positive side of things. So,
We do?
of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Sure.
We as in me. Right.
Do you have any plane heat with Top Flight?
You know, they're like, I'm like Delta, they're like Southwest. You know what I mean?
So you're
Just
going to
different.
undercut each other is what you're saying. And ultimately, the consumer will suffer.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Right, possibly. You know, it's always competitions, indirect, direct competitions, economics.
Maybe
so.
you guys should have a merger.
So maybe sometime down the future.
Something for you guys to think about. You were the first black man to graduate from the New Japan Dojo. Do you think you were the first man to apply, or do you think all the others just quit?
See, that's the question I had myself. I think there was a lot of applications.
And they were just trying to keep black people out, is what you're saying.
possibly.
They turned them all down.
You know, you said it. So
I did. Yeah. Tell me what a day in the dojo was like.
a day in the dojo, man, you up, sweeping, vacuuming, squats, push-ups, a lot of yelling, a lot of bumping, a lot more wrestling, a lot more cleaning, a lot more chanko. You're a chore boy in the sense of the word. So
Isn't that
they make you earn that paycheck. They make you earn that paycheck.
Isn't that a little racist? Hand a black man a mop
Come on now.
and say, I'm your master, sweep these floors.
He the one saying it.
I am the one saying it. I'm doing a lot of heavy lifting here. You're really like the Jackie Robinson of doing too many squats.
I think so. You know.
That's how you'll be
the
remembered.
story's gonna be crazy.
Your master was Shibata. How do you get trained by a guy who doesn't speak English?
Body language. A lot of telepathy.
Yeah.
It's probably the reason why we all kind of went a little crazy because we don't really know what we're doing in there. So,
I can tell.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you think Shibata was kayfabing how much English he knows?
of course, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Shibata's smart.
Good for
Shibata's
him.
smart.
AEW was interested in signing you, but another company offered you a tryout at the same time. We heard
about that,
these guys,
right?
Is that what you said?
Of course.
Yeah.
We heard about that story, right?
What was the declining phone call?
The declining phone call.
Yeah.
I don't need this. This ain't my job.
Really?
You know what I'm saying?
And then you just hung up the phone like that?
Just like that.
Okay.
Quote it.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So now you're signed to both AEW and New Japan?
Yes, sir.
So you're double dipping?
Double dipping to catch the style.
Isn't that unethical?
If it's your own sauce, you could double dip. So
I see. That was a tight analogy. Good for you. The glasses.
Yes, sir.
What are we doing here?
You want to see them?
I would love to see them.
Try them on?
I would love to try them on.
You might got to take yours off because these are prescription.
Okay.
These prescription
Yes.
now.
Okay.
All right. Tell me what you see.
Okay. This is very exciting.
You see, only a few people can handle what they really see through these glasses, so.
It was like if Bret Hart did LSD. I'm sorry, it's like if Bret Hart did more LSD.
More LSD.
Yeah.
So we take you on a trip every time. That's why we two fly. So
You can't put those on a kid. They'll freak out.
And
they will trip.
That's why we're not selling them as merch just yet. We got to get it approved first.
Yes, or just find more up kids.
That too.
It's a really good idea. You are also known as the one you look up to.
Right.
For what?
For what?
Yeah.
For everything that I've accomplished so far, everything you just listed beforehand. And I'm the Jet, so it makes sense, so.
What would I come to you for?
What would you come to me for?
Yeah, if I was to look up to you.
You could come to me for a lot of things.
Like?
First, this fashion sense. We maybe could fix you up just a little bit.
Okay.
I want to get you on the cover of GQ. I want to get you on the cover of Boss, whatever it is.
What would you change here?
We can start with the glasses.
Okay.
Those frames and those shoes, I'm not sure if they go together real good.
Okay.
Just one of the few things you can come to the Jet for.
Okay. All right, that's fine. You said that you suffer from imposter syndrome.
Possibly. Maybe my past me did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you kind of are, though.
Really?
In wrestling, everyone is.
Yeah.
You have a fake hometown. You're lying about that.
Right.
You have names you keep changing.
Right.
You have a plane gimmick. It's already been taken.
Right.
You are one.
Yeah.
So I think the trick is to embrace it.
Yeah. As soon as you embrace your shadow, that's when you really get to be your full self.
Mm-hmm. Put that on my shirt. You said you are like a superhero who is just realizing their powers. What are your powers?
It's a myriad of powers out there. I think everybody has their own that they come into. If I let you know my powers, you're gonna know my weaknesses. So I can't explicitly say that out loud on camera for the world to see.
Yeah. So your power is vague answers.
I study pimps, politicians, everybody else, answer questions without really answering the question.
Yes, I'll say. You like older women.
They're in my bag. They like me, I should say that.
Okay, so what's your biggest age gap?
Biggest age gap?
Yeah.
This is on camera?
Yes, it's on camera.
I give it a couple years.
A couple?
Couple years.
A couple years?
Yeah.
What is a couple? More than 3?
It can mean a few, it can mean several, it can mean, I gotta give a vague answer. I can't just put it out there like that. Yeah.
When you went to the movies together, did they think you were mother and son?
Auntie and nephew.
Okay.
Let's say that.
So much better. That's at least 15 years. You said that Tony Khan is, quote, a great person. How do you know that?
Oof. I've been there for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And in my short amount of time, he's been nothing but great vibes.
Okay.
Positive. Is there anything I should know about him?
We'll talk later.
We'll talk.
That's fine, yeah.
We'll talk later.
Your message to AEW has been to expect the unexpected.
Of course.
Like what?
Exactly that. If I tell you right now, you're going to expect exactly what
But
I
then
told
I'm
you not to
expecting
expect. Exactly. And I'm not going to get caught in that trap. I see what you're doing.
This guy's got some superpowers here. You are now taking acting classes.
Of course.
Why?
I want to be able to compete with the RJ Cities of the world. I want to be able to compete with the characters in this business and know exactly what goes on in this realm. So I want to be prepared. So it's a defense mechanism. That's all it is.
It's a defense mechanism. Yes, so much better. You've also started playing guitar. Do you play it well or just enough to get a blowjob?
Both of those answers don't apply to me. I don't think I'm good enough to do either at this point.
You've never had a blowjob?
Off of playing the guitar,
Yeah.
that's something I haven't experienced yet. That's something maybe I got to come to you about.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, my God. That woman's blowing her nephew. This is so bizarre.
Need that.
You've said that you always compare championships to a, quote, girlfriend or shorty
Yeah, my
of
little
yours.
shorties,
Explain
my
what you
shorties.
mean.
Of course, you know, when you're the one you look up to, the jet,
Yeah.
everybody else is just a little shorty around you. And, you know, in my personal experience, I've got a few of these shorties. And in the wrestling world, the #1 shorty is that world championship. Whether we in AEW, it's the Continental Championship, the TNT. So all of the shorties, you know, I want them and they want me. So I just got to find a way to attract them around my waist.
So is the woman's belt a lesbian?
I'm not sure if I understand what you're saying.
Well, if they're shorties, if these belts are shorties, and then it's a woman's belt, that would be a lesbian to you in your analogy.
Possibly. I haven't thought that far yet. You're thinking on a whole different realm.
And then a tag belt would just be like double teaming someone with your friend.
Yeah, that's going to Paris. That's what we call the Eiffel Tower.
Right.
Yeah,
I understand that. You've also said, in wrestling and in life, it's important to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Don't you think so?
Shall we try?
I've been uncomfortable with this whole interview, so
Let's know you haven't. Let me show you how we can get uncomfortable.
talk to me.
Just gonna get comfortable. Being uncomfortable.
All right.
Penile amputation. Rick Rude. That's the rumor. So it's a horrible, horrible thing.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. I hate to see it.
What was the age gap?
The age gap?
More than 8 years. More than 8 years.
Oh, of course. Of course. I was, it was about at least 20.
God bless you.
God bless you.
I'm finally comfortable.
You finally uncomfortable?
You also read a lot.
On air. Hey AEW, AEW. So yes, prime example.
And beyond words you see in the real world, you like Toni Morrison.
Of course, you heard about it?
I'm a big Toni Morrison man myself.
See, I like
And I
that.
think we should end the show by reading the Toni Morrison quotes.
Talk to me.
All right, okay.
I'll get my
I like
lady.
this one I love. I didn't fall in love. I rose in it. And here, read this one here. Read this last one.
You setting me up?
Yeah, that's great.
Women's rights is not only an abstraction, a cause, it is also a personal affair. It is not only about us, it's also about me and you and just the two of us.
Well, this has been a grounding. I've learned so much about really myself.
Right.
Because your answers were ultimately vague.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
And as an ant myself, if we ever go to the movie theater or if you ever learn 3 chords on a guitar, know that I have your back.
See, now you're making me uncomfortable.
Excellent. You can keep that.
Okay.